Hi everyone, we are starting a new chapter here. It is called the atom. Okay, so we're just after finishing up with astronomy, and there's of course many links here between astronomy and the atom because when we're talking about the atom is, I suppose, a basic unit of matter, and of course, when we just finished up there talking about space and how in space there is no matter, okay, like solids, liquids, and gases. So this is the whole area of chemistry again. And remember, matter is the building blocks of our universe, like our planets, our sun. Our sun is made of things like hydrogen and helium. So we want to study this atom now in a little bit more detail. Now, I want you to look here down at the bottom right-hand corner, and what you see here is a solid, a gas, and a liquid. Now, these when we were introduced to them at the start of the year, we called them matter. Okay, and we looked at the properties of matter, and we just called them particles at the time. Okay, so these little circles here, we just call them particles. Really, what those circles or particles represent is atoms and also what we call molecules. Okay, so we'll be looking at these anyway, and they'll make sense as we go towards the end of this chapter. So our job for today, well, we mightn't get all of this done, but we'll certainly get a start on it done. We want to look at defining an atom. So what is an atom really as a definition? We want to look at what we call the subatomic particles of atoms and their locations. And if we get to it, we might have a look at what we call the charges on different subatomic particles. Okay, so that's to do with kind of like, it's, I suppose, related to electricity, but we're just going to look here at the charges, and that'll make sense as we go on. So, what is an atom? The atom is an absolutely tiny, tiny piece of matter. Okay, when we define it, we say it is the smallest part of an element, but it still retains the properties of that element. So, I want you to remember all the ways back at the start of the year when we were introducing elements, we took out some aluminium foil. We tore the aluminium foil in two. We tore it in two again and two again, and we kept cutting it in two. And the point being is that that was an element. So the type of material it was as an element, there was only aluminium found in that aluminium foil. But if you kept cutting down and kept halving, eventually you would break it down to a single unit we call an atom. Okay, and that is what we mean here by saying it is the smallest part of an element in terms of the first line there. Now, it retains the properties of that element, and what that means here is that aluminium as an atom will have the same properties as aluminium as a, I suppose, aluminium foil. So, um, it's still a metal. It still kind of has this whole, these whole kind of shiny properties as a metallic element. So that's the definition there. So we'll be looking at that again anyway in terms of revision. So an atom, we can't see atoms, of course. Atoms with our own eyes, they're just too small, okay? So we have to use very kind of strong microscopes. We call them electron microscopes to be able to see the atom. But the what we can do is we can use and rely on the science of great scientists before us to who knew that atoms were there, but they couldn't see them, but they could use experiments to show it. Okay, you couldn't, of course, put a single atom down on a mass balancer to measure it, as I was saying here, in terms of can't be weighed. But maybe if you did a bit of maths on it, you would be able to figure out how much the atom, its mass was itself. So, on a scale, guys, in terms of living organisms, we want to look here at this animation here to just emphasize a few things for us. Okay, so starting down here, you see Finn, you the guy, the kid. You see the cells, and in the cells, you see molecules, and in the molecules, you see atoms. Okay, so we'll start again and wait here for Finn, the boy. So Finn, you have the tissues, the cells. Inside the cells, you've got molecules, and in the molecules, they're made up of atoms. Okay, and you saw them there, the with the little orbits and the bits running around them. Okay, what I want you to notice there, guys, is the scale. Okay, the scale here refers to how big or small something is. Okay, so atoms are significantly smaller than cells. We can see cells under a microscope, whereas an atom, we have to have a special microscope for that. So we are going to watch a little video, and I'm going to click the start of it. And you're going to do a bit of a matching activity for me then as homework, and you're going to answer some true or false questions for me as well. So the matching activity here, I'm going to do one of them for you just to kind of highlight how you do this, these questions. So what you're going to do in your copybook is you're going to write out a number. So a number could be, for example, protons, neutrons, electrons. Start with number 1. Protons, neutrons, electrons. Which one of these blue cards does protons, neutrons, and electrons match with? Is it John Dalton, who's a scientist? Is it has one proton and electron, creates an ion of that atom, subatomic particles of atoms, or is it the nucleus? Now, when you watch the video in a bit, it'll become obvious, but the match here is protons, neutrons, electrons match with subatomic particles of atoms. Okay, so you're going to repeat that there for the four other cards there, and write out those sentences. What do the word or sentence match with? There's some true or false questions for down below that then again. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what you can write down is 1 equals true, 2 equals false, etc. So those are not the answers, by the way. I'm just randomly throwing out that you can write down 1 equals true, 2 or 1 equals false. Right, the video itself is about the periodic table, and it's this video here. It's called Stated Clearly. So I'm going to post this up in Google Classroom, and you will see it. And then you will do this assigned work. Okay, that's it for today, guys. We will continue tomorrow in the live lesson on the atom.